Welcome back to the Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Whitney, and I have amazing guests today, good friends of mine from the great state of Indiana, Ted and Stephanie. They're awesome house flippers. They're really cool people. Ted is just a fireball of energy and excitement, and Steph is just an absolute focused savage in her business. And I've got an immense amount of admiration for both of them. I love spending time with them. Ted and Steph, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. We appreciate you having us.
Yeah, it's so cool. All right, so let's talk about you guys. Steph, you were W-2, working a job. You're an incredible professional. And somehow you two stumbled into real estate and into our world. How did you get started in real estate? How did this evolve and come to where it is today?
Yeah, so great question, actually, because I kind of went over that last night. I'm like, how did we get here? We met about 8 years ago, so I'll go into that real short. But we've both formed a really strong relationship and bond between us. So as we've grown as people individually and as a couple, we were just really looking to better ourselves. So that probably about 2 years ago, I really dove into self-help. What can I do better to ourselves financially, spiritually, emotionally as a couple? And one of the things, podcast is kind of my thing. And I read 2 to 3 books a month. But the way it hit the real estate world is I had started to listen to some podcasts, and probably something popped up. I think I started on what most real estate people get into, which is Bigger Pockets, which led me to another. So that's kind of the story of where we got started. I was like, hey, let's do this. And we decided to downsize our home at one point. So we went looking for houses, and we realized we're at this great rate. What are we going to do with all this equity? I was reading a book, and it was Jensen Cyril's book, and it said, go do something today that scares you to death. And I was like, whoa, I was drinking my coffee. Anyway, fast forward 5 hours later, we put an offer on a double wide house, which was not what we were looking for, that had no heat, no air, anything. I dove into every episode. We ended up buying that house. I dove into every episode of YouTube and everything. We bought it. We flipped it ourselves. At that time, we were using our own money. Became a hobby. We decided, hey, we'll get off the couch and stop watching Netflix. So every night, weekend, I was working a corporate job, a 6-figure corporate job, which, by the way, I did leave last week. It was a hard decision. Yeah. I love my job. But anyway, we started with that one. And as we progressed, I had went to a guy that's a flipper in our county. He does a lot. He's very well known. He advertises well. And I said, how do I grow this? And what I'm learning now is everyone asks that question. You see someone successful and you're like, what do you do? But it's the people that do the thing that make it. And he said, the best advice I could give you is get around other people doing the same thing. Join a mastermind, something. And I was like, okay. So I did one mastermind. It was great. I have an amazing pod that helped me get to where I am today. They pushed me out of our comfort zone. And that's where I kind of learned to scale. So a lot of self-taught and being around the right people in the right rooms. Anyway, that's where it started. So I don't want to go on too long.
Yeah, my goodness. Okay. First off, when that first mobile that you bought, what year was that?
Oh, we just did that in December. We've only been doing it a little over a year. So it was
December 2023.
Yeah, December 2023. We bought it.
Okay. And just for context, how many flips have you completed so far?
Well, we just bought 4, but we've completed 8.
Yeah.
That's so incredible. That really just speaks to who you are. So you go do something that makes you uncomfortable, and you're like, okay, you're thinking about real estate. There's this mobile home. I'm going to make an offer. How did you know what to offer? How did you know how to get the rehab done or what that was going to cost us? Ted know all that stuff? How did you know that?
No. So, well, I did to some degree, just the information you can find on the internet. You know, I was like, okay, well, if I do the ARV and then times 70 or 75% less the rehab, and all of those numbers were completely wrong, by the way. Like, I mean, they were so wrong. It's, I think I had the ARV at that one at like maybe 140, 150. And I was like, oh, it'll take us about $20,000 to do this. And I was way off. Like,
what were the actuals on it?
Well,
what did it sell for?
We sold it. So we put it on the market. Our realtor even came in higher. He's like, you guys did an amazing job. It's on acreage. So we sold it for like $225.
Oh my God.
I can't go back to the numbers. I'm not a detailed numbers when it comes to this, but we made over 6 figures on that.
Yeah. So you were fortunate to be wrong in the right direction.
Correct. Yes. We only paid like 60 for it. So yeah.
That's incredible. And Ted, did you do the work on that yourself, or how did that work? Did you handle the rehab on that one?
I did all of it by myself. Like just YouTube University. I mean, I had some construction experience just as a kid and things like that. And I'd been in the construction industry. So, but I mean, I like doing the sheetrock. I did I'll make sure all the electricals, learning plumbing. I'm calling up friends, all of my family's in construction, just like FaceTiming and you know, like, this is what it looks like. What's it supposed to look like? And, I mean, it was, in some moments it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. And I think the one thing that we learned was literally, it was about a month before we ended up selling it. Me and Steph were in the living room, we were like literally in tears. Like, it was so overwhelming. We're like, we hadn't even painted yet. We're like, this is never going to end, you know? And, we actually, that's kind of how the journey started. Was we did find a contractor to help us get it finished up. Just the last little bits of it. And he was awesome. He came and helped us get it finished up, and we sold it a month later. And it's just crazy how that goes from in 4 weeks. Like, we're just in the living room, just so overwhelmed, and we're like, we can't do this, to we're depositing the 6-figure check a month later. And I think the one thing that I definitely learned is I'm never doing that again. We're like, if we want to do this, we're going to figure out how to do it, paying other people, and start creating a business. And I think that moment is when we realize we need to create a business, and we need to create it right. And we need to find the people to help us do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things here. First off, if I were to open the dictionary and look up the word resourcefulness, it might have your guys' photos next to it, because, you know, what's really cool is, like, for a lot of people, and we know all these people, right? They're like, hey, I want to do real estate. I want to be a house flipper. I want to get a deal, but they're just kind of stuck, like, in fear. It's usually fear. They think it's lack of knowledge. There's nothing. I mean, you can read the books, and you should, and you can listen to the podcast, and you should, but you can't replace or replicate experience. You have to go out and do. And once you do, it builds confidence. Even if you do and you break even or make 10 grand, or even if you lose a little bit of money, that still breeds confidence that, wow, this is doable. If I just tweak these things, it'll be even better. And you guys kind of just you just went right out of the gate with, like, all right, let's do the action, and we'll figure the rest out as we go.
That might be stupidity. Sometimes is a good thing. I think it's one of the things that I go back to that story. I posted again on Facebook just to remind ourselves that, like, when somebody comes and asks me and they're very serious, like, I wish I would have had a real mentor then. I reached out to several people and they didn't have time, or that, you know, they've been asked that. And so the one thing that Ted and I are really, that we love to do, is help other people that are serious and that they're motivated. But I wish I would have had that. And I was seeking that until I found you, Adam. But that's when everything changed. And we both know that, right? So.
Well, now that, I mean, that's also cool, because, like, people all the time are like, oh, mastermind, they cost money. Like, should I join a mastermind? And I always tell people, like, I'm a huge proponent. It obviously changed my business and my life. And I think most people who come in, they typically have a good experience. Of course, there are bad ones out there. But yeah, like, if you go to somebody and say, the biggest challenge when you are doing it and you are successful, even if you don't feel like you're that successful, you're successful to somebody. They come to you And at first it's cool, like, hey, can I pick your brain? And you're like excited to help somebody. But then it's like coming in droves and you're like, I'm running a business. And you start to see people who are like, can I pick your brain? But then they don't take action. So then you go, well, that was a waste of time.
Yes.
So you have to start to protect your time as you guys grow as kind of dominant in your market. People are going to look to you to be their mentor. And I'm sure you guys would be so grateful to mentor people. But at the same time, you want to mentor serious people who are committed to actually doing the thing. There's nothing worse than somebody coming to you saying, can you help me? And you tell them exactly what to do. And they don't do that, or they do something different. And you're like, why did you not do the thing I told you to do? I've been down that road. So what also is really cool is you joined a different community, which is also a very great community. I know a lot of people in that community. But this is the other thing I like to talk to people about. That community is very broad, lots of different things going on. And you guys were like flipping houses. So obviously you're like, where are the house flippers? And you're like, oh, 7-figure flipping. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about like that experience? Because obviously that other community is phenomenal. Those are great people.
Yes.
But then that's good for the people and the resources, but not necessarily like, how do I scale, a flipping business?
Yeah.
Talk about that experience and kind of those differences with respect to like getting focused on the thing that you're doing.
Yeah. So for me, I actually joined it. Ted did not. And it was a bunch of entrepreneurs, and it was an amazing community. I love it. And we met a lot of people there, but I kept reaching out for some coaching I needed the focus. I needed to know, how does somebody flipping? And that particular one seemed to be, the focus was changing quite often. And it wasn't until about December, we were actually in accountability pods, or I was, with some amazing people, which I'd love to just shout out their names because I love them. They are the reason I'm here. But we formed this Monday night meeting, and one of them finally said, I don't feel like we're getting what I need to do. Like, what do you think? And they said, have you reached out to Adam? And I was like, oh yeah, no, Adam's too big for me. So that funny story is, the picture you had looked like you were on this huge stage, and I felt like you were so at that time unreachable. And I'm like, oh, that's too big. Like, I'm too big. I'm too small of a fish. But I reached out to you, and then we jumped on a call with Dave, and it was like, oh, this is what I've been looking for. And not just what we had been looking for our business. Like, the people are genuine. Like, we have formed, like, I feel like that's like our second family, almost first sometimes, because if I have a question, like I call Lindsay, answered yesterday, and, we're here for each other. Somebody called me, I'd be available right away. So that's when I saw quite a bit of a change. Like, okay, this process, and we're meeting, and all of the information you offer. Like, I had been looking for that. Like, somebody says, you want to do this? Here's your handbook. If you do it, this is what will happen. And that's what you guys offered for us. I was like, oh. So the funny part is, we, on purpose, burnt our business to the ground. Like, literally, we joined, and we said, everything that we've done, we're going to wipe away, and we're going to follow those steps that you guys provide. And Ted, and he keeps saying, we're going to burn it down. We burn it down. Like, we stopped and did one house and followed it, like, literally to the T of what it says. This is the job scope. This is the layers, everything. And that flip is going so smooth. We purposely slowed ourselves down. We could afford to, but it changed everything. And then that's what ramped us up to like scaling in a completely different way than we had been doing. Like, now I with confidence can say we have a full-fledged business with SOPs, we have our CPA, we have you guys, we have everything. So
yeah, I think it's cool. It's just like it's a deeper level of focus, right? And you're in a room with people doing a very specific thing. Like, we're flipping houses, we're going and getting deals, we're taking them through a very intentional process. Of course, there's like messiness all the time.
Yeah.
So you try to you put things in place to control the chaos and make it predictable. How can I create predictable revenue in my flipping business? Which you guys did a great job of, which is really interesting because you guys had already done, 4, 5, or 6, And then you came here and you said, oh, we're just like agents of chaos. Let's actually put some structure in place so that we can continue to be profitable and scale it profitably, which is really, really important to me. I get really cringy when people are like, I flipped a zillion houses and we did top line revenue. I'm like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is your business profitable? Is it predictable? Are you hiring people so that you can get your time back and those kind of things? So it's really cool because you guys actually came in, and I vividly remember like Ted went through all of the like educational pieces, because there's so much to the community, but the educational pieces is where like sometimes people don't want to like do that. They don't want to go through the videos. They don't want to like do the study piece. They just want the shortcut. But I watched Ted go through every single thing and go, okay, I got this thing. Now I'm going to implement it. I got this contractor agreement, making it ours, implementing it. Got this scope of work, got this Gantt chart, got that. Like I was watching Ted. I'm like, oh my gosh, Ted is implementing faster than I did, which was just really cool to see, because it works. If you do it, it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
And prior to this, I'll let him talk. He wasn't doing anything. Okay. He wasn't doing anything with the business part. He was like doing the physical work and, contracting, but it wasn't until we came in, he was like, oh, wow, I had no idea you had been doing all this alone. And then now he's taken over that completely. So
I actually remember that call with Dave, because I wasn't involved in her other mastermind, and they're great people. It just wasn't my people. And, they're talking stuff that I didn't really understand. And I was definitely stuck in that I'm a neck down worker. I've been union my whole life, Teamsters, United Steelworkers, I'm a neck down guy. And when we were talking with Dave, and I actually remember at the end of the call, Steph's like, well, let's discuss it. And I look over and I'm like, no, we're doing this. These are our people.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, Dave, sign us up. Like, these are our people. And obviously I'm very active in 7F.
Yeah.
It's part of it's almost out of fear. I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. And maybe that was an advantage. So I'm like, I'm reading every module and I'm going through it and I'm reaching out to, and one of the things that I love about the group was the people who put the module together, they're here. So I'm like, I'm stealing everything from Tyler, and I'm able to message Tyler and go, how do I use this? And I didn't know anything. So I wasn't afraid to ask what would seem like a stupid question.
It's all born out of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
It's all practical education. It's like, we got to this 25 ways to find a contractor by doing 200 other ways that didn't work. We found these to be the best 25,
yes.
Like things like that.
And I love that. I mean, I've had in my life a saying it's just in my life, that if you want what someone else has, you do what they did. And so we just constantly do that. It doesn't have to make sense to me, because whatever. So, I mean, if I want my business to run smooth, I come in here with people that have smooth running businesses. What did you do? And then I do that. I just have to duplicate it.
Yeah. What's you guys are like the perfect model on our setup. So we have, there's a couple things here, but we have two communities, Runway and Altitude. And in Runway, it's for you to get your fundamentals correct, for you to build your foundation solid. And then what always happens is like, now you're adding layers of complexity because your volume goes up. When your volume goes up, it's less about flipping the house and more about building the business. So what's cool is in our infrastructure, we take real operators that we select every year from our Altitude community. So these are members. These are not like paid. They don't work for 7FF on payroll as coaches. They're like actual business owners who are flipping houses or doing this business in their own right. And what we try to do when we select those people is, like, I can't have Bill Allen be a coach for Runway, because he's just like in the stratosphere. You guys would be like, I don't even know what you're saying.
yes.
Right. So we try to grab business owners who are like either really good at coming down and remembering what it was like in those first couple of years, or they're literally just like a year or two beyond, and then they come back and pull people up. Right. So, because they're like, oh yeah, I just went through that. Let me help you. Let me show you. Like you guys will probably coach Runway next, is my guess.
Hope so. That's the goal. That's on my goal list. So
yeah, you guys will be, I mean, you're on my short list. So then you guys can come back and pull people up and help them through that foundation phase where they can get consistency and profitable. And then you guys will be working more on your business phase where you're putting people in place to grow it in the way that you want to grow. It doesn't have to be 200 deals in a year. It could be 10, could be 50, it could be whatever you want. But there are kind of like different echelons. And what's cool, Steph, is you came from corporate. So you understand the infrastructure and people and management and that stuff. And then Ted, blue collar, neck down, you said, but now you're neck up.
Yep.
You're the numbers guy, which is kind of cool. Like, hey, I was the swing and the hammer guy. Now I'm like underwriting deals. I'm running the scopes of work, the budgets. I'm like managing the KPIs. It's just kind of cool to see that evolution that you go, oh, I can do this really well. And I'm good at details.
When we started, he's like, what does KPI stand for? And I was like, oh my gosh, we have a long way. What's ARV? And I was like, oh my gosh. And now to see him like, hey, I got to go finish our QuickBooks and make sure it's all okay with the CPA. Like I'm going to go on live here and tell you that I don't even log into QuickBooks. Like, I'm like, tell me what my numbers are. Tell me where I'm at on this, which is what it should be. If you're running a business, you should have somebody dependable. And luckily I have my spouse, but he does. When I say he does all the numbers, I'm like, tell me where I'm at on that project. What do I need to do? And, I kind of push it along a little bit, if you will, if something's going not my way. So,
yeah.
I think something
you're the idea visionary. Like we often talk about it in terms of visionary and integrator, or like who's the number two? Like it's me and Lindsay, right? It's you and Ted. Like you're casting the vision, you're pushing in the direction we're going, and Ted's making sure it's all implemented effectively and we're not breaking everything.
Correct. That's 100%. And it's amazing to see this transformation in him, because I knew he was such a hard physical worker, but I've always known how intelligent he was. And then when he started doing this and he came in and was showing me these spreadsheets, I was like, I didn't know you were an Excel nerd too. So great, because I don't like that part. I don't have the time I have too many thoughts going through my mind of what we need to do next. And like, I already have things that are going to be our next step in the next 6 months that I need to as a visionary stop and say, okay, I am going to start wholesaling some of these deals because we're bringing them on quicker. I'm going to do more marketing, and I can kind of like pass that off. And then obviously our next thing we're going to be doing is hiring. And I've never hired anybody before, but I will learn.
Yeah, we're going to learn that. We're going to get in with you guys and help with that process, because I think that's such a key component to growth. Like, people are the systems. You put things in place that are fundamental, but you grow with people. Like, that's the only genuine way to grow. And not just people, but the right people, because the wrong people could definitely take you in the other direction. Okay, that's cool. Let's talk about, so we just did an event in Cancun. So we meet every quarter, we get together, which I'm a huge proponent of human interaction. We can't just be on Zoom and on the internet. We have to get together. There's a different level of connection that happens. You meet people because we got people in our community who don't go on Facebook. Yeah. They're not like on the internet that much. They're just running their businesses, but then they come in person. You're like, who is this guy? This guy's awesome. So just talk to me about your experience in Cancun, and like, who'd you meet there? Who made an impact on you? Like, what did Cancun do for you guys? I know what it did for me. I tell you guys all the time, it's a life changer for me. I'm just curious, like, what was the interactions that you think back to and go, wow, that really was like really good for us?
Oh, wow. I don't know how much time you have. So I listened to you say that a lot, how much that trip changed your life. And I was like, oh, that's so great for Adam, and I would love that for us. But I had no idea that it was going to be a paradigm shift in our life. Like, I don't even know if I want to start saying names, because there were so many people that either I connected with and like that not only helped our business, but like we've become friends with. I don't think Ted had been to like a mastermind. I had actually about a month ago gone to the same type of thing for my corporate job. So I knew that it was going to be, these breakout sessions and we were going to learn different things. And I didn't really know the context of what you guys would do with it, which was mind blowing. Some people think you just talk about houses all day, but it's not. It's like, we talked about predictive index on how that's benefit like your hiring process. And then you had somebody talking, like a local lender. There was just so many different things that support your business. The people, like obviously Lindsay, I talked to her, but really got to know Lindsay. Was it Kyle Robinson? That was my paradigm shift because my mind thought like his, and I'm like, oh, he does big things. Wow.
Tell me about that experience, because I was sitting at the table with you like that, and I had a very similar experience 4 years prior at this event.
Yes,
and I could almost see it unfolding with you at that table. It was so cool to watch.
It felt like there's times in your life that you have such an emotional response because your mind is going and your body doesn't know what happened. I felt like I physically shut down. Mm-hmm. So just the context of it, Adam put us in what was called the hot seats. And he took, we're this little minnow and he puts us in this huge lake. And I'm like, had no idea though. The thing about it was I didn't know what kind of numbers or what kind of businesses these other entrepreneurs were running. So he had us go first, which was very good because I don't know what I had done if you'd made me go last. And so we told our story, our struggles, our goals with our business and, which seemed pretty good. And then we get around the table and like Mike Hasso, that was great. He was really good. And then we get to Kyle and I'm like, and my mind thinks the same way as some of these, what I call heavy hitters do. So I was like, when he started talking, I was like inside, I was like, oh my gosh, but he was so down to earth, and so, and his wife, Becky, like they were just the most genuine, willing to share people. And then we kind of went around to the room and Todd was in there. For us, that was the moment. And you strategically, you did an excellent job of putting us out of our comfort zone because I grow out of my comfort zone. Like
for sure.
I have to tell you that that's where I like to be is if I'm not scared, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So.
Yeah. And I think for us, it's like us because obviously I go there and I participate too, because I'm also running a real estate business. But when I look at it through my 7-figure flipping lens, we try to put people in a position to grow. And I just knew you were such a big visionary thinker. I was like, I got to get Steph at this table because she'll hear things that she'll go, oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Like, these normal people are doing these ordinary people are doing extraordinary things. And Kyle's sitting at the table and he's got this like massive business that's got a big retail arm doing hundreds of transactions. He's got roofing vertically integrated. He's got, he's doing 40 flips a year vertically integrated. He owns 50 properties and he owns a SaaS company. And he's got all these verticals he's added over the years. And what's crazy is in Kyle's story, Kyle came in the community in 2018, basically just a realtor doing a few flips. And we did this event called Dash 2, which was all about hiring your number 2, it was all about hiring your COO or operations manager. And it was like one of the best like events we had done. And Bill and his COO, Nate, and it was just really well done. Well, that event changed Kyle's business because Kyle then hires Marcus, which explodes his growth. And, so like it's all these singular moments that have these big impacts. It impacted me. I knew if I got you at the table with all these people, Todd Jones and Kyle, and then it impacted Kyle in 2018. And then it's just almost like we know the event that has to happen and it's all in our mind. Yeah. Most of it is in our mind, creating belief, I love Kyle, but you look at him and go, there's nothing special about Kyle.
I would not have guessed. I mean, Kyle, and I've been around a lot of businessmen that, dress in suits every day and they're very corporate and they're very structured. And I mean, Kyle's over there in a t-shirt and shorts and he blurts out, his numbers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost wanted to pass out because I see big numbers every day in my corporate job, but I was like, Kyle's on a whole nother level. but like the most genuine person. And, more so than anything, the lifestyle that we want. Like, I don't know what that number is because I actually don't care about the money. Like Ted laughs.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even know what's in our bank account. I don't know when I was getting paid. It has nothing to do with the money for me. It's all about just accomplishing that next thing and setting those next goals and then achieving them and then branching out. Like that's my drive. It's just, can I do it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like for a lot of entrepreneurs, most are like, we're kind of workaholics anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like I don't want to work, but it's like I want freedom of choice. I want to choose what I work on.
Yes.
And be excited about that next goal. And I know, like, I came out of the military, you came out of corporate. The biggest frustration I think we have is like W-2 people is we work our butts off and we achieve, but we are oftentimes it's hard to see the effort of our result. Like our effort doesn't correlate directly to a certain result for us.
Correct. Yes.
Like it might help the company in some way. Sometimes you can see that you're like, cool, I hit a big sales number, but didn't really change anything. But when it's your business, it literally all your efforts contribute directly to your results, which I think is like really fun.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, if I do better, if I'm more efficient, if I do more, it's like I'm hitting these goals and it's impacting my life. And the other thing that I personally, why I was attracted to the community is we're not wearing suits. We're not dressing up. Like I could have easily took a $250,000 a year job coming out of the Department of Defense, but I wanted to wear shorts and a hoodie every day. I wanted to, I'm just being honest. I was kind of tired of the dressing up and the kind of stuffy lifestyle. I wanted to do life with other business owners. Like,
that's funny you say that because I kept telling him, you work hard to get to the corporate job. And I was like, oh, I've got all these suits and nice clothes. And now that we've made this transition just in the past week, I'm like, Ted, I have no clothes. Like I have no t-shirts. I have either, what I would paint the house in or I have this. So he's like, you have to buy a new wardrobe because you quit your job. I'm like, no, but that is one of the things that I said, one of the things you set out to, and I said, I want to wear my leggings and a sweatshirt and a ball cap every day. And that's what I like to do. Yeah. So
totally. And it seems so small, but it's like, I don't have to get dressed up every day. Yeah. I can come and sit at my computer and influence results. Like,
correct.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's just a different lifestyle. And I think like for you come from corporate, so you definitely know. And Ted, you're blue collar, like you're in the union. You've been punching the clock your whole life too. So it's like, it's not less work. It's just a different kind of freedom.
Yes.
Yes. No, it's definitely a lot less work.
Yeah. In some cases it's actually more work.
Way more work.
It's almost like more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Within a week, like it's been just shy of a week. It was last Tuesday that I made the decision, which was not an easy decision to leave. I absolutely loved my job. I love the people I worked with. But making that decision was hard in that transition. And I thought, I think the one thing I thought, and I know that I can be a workaholic. Like I'm aware of that. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with all this time? And I remember even telling my pod, I said, well, guys, if I quit, I probably need to get like another job, like just something just to keep my time busy. But I'm a firm believer in time blocking. So I start at 6 a.m. and my day is time blocked out until 6 p.m. And I can tell you that last week and this week, I need more time. Like I am just, whether we've bought a house or we're meeting a contractor or we need to send title work over or, doing some marketing to get more, even social media posts. That was something that was out of my comfort zone, but I have everything time blocked and I am a big proponent of doing that so that you do stay on track and you are making the right progress towards the right things in your business.
Absolutely. Ted, I want to come to you just for a second before we wrap up here.
All right.
I think another thing we see in our community, and there's this dynamic, this husband-wife working together dynamic. And I'll host this show sometimes with Dr. Sherry Fluellen, who's also a house flipper who works with her husband. Talk to me about what the experience has been like where you guys are partners on multiple levels, not just in life, but also in business. How do you guys manage that? How do you guys keep boundaries from business? Is it always all work talk, or do you guys draw some boundaries and have some non-work zones? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, we sort of have non-work zones. So Steph is just always thinking, like she's the visionary. So I don't think there's a second that she's not thinking about real estate, that she's not like flipping through, looking for a deal, looking for a house. So I think I'd be lying if I said that, there isn't a work zone. But yeah, we have our personal time. We'll go down to our lake house and just decompress. We'll turn our phones off and just be like, okay, we just need time to decompress. We do block out time for, okay, this is what we need to do on our personal life, and this is what we need to do for the business. But for us, this is our retirement. Like, we'll never stop working. Like, we're not going to be hanging out on the beach by you over in Tampa, just sipping margaritas all day long. And this is our retirement.
Maybe for a weekend.
Yeah, like a weekend. But
we like some vacation. Don't get me wrong.
She's good for about 2 days of that, and then she has to go. She'll literally explode. I think as like a partnership, because she is such a high level and fast achiever when it comes to the way that she thinks. I just feel blessed to be able to support that. And I know that it's kind of an odd dynamic, because I think a lot of, from a social aspect, people think of, like the guy's running the business and the wife is supporting him. And I love being in that supporting role, because she just has such a vision and such a drive on this. And, I just, Cancun scared the crap out of me, actually, because when we were sitting at that table, I watched that shift happen in her. And I'm like,
hold on, here we go.
And I'm literally just like, okay, we're going to meet, these, Jonathan and Lauren in North Carolina in like 2 weeks, which is really good, because I'm going to need Lauren's help on how I can support, what she's going to do, because I've got systems in place to track like 3 to 4 houses really good. And hopefully she hasn't bought more than that by the time we get to North Carolina in 3 weeks. And she's right there, just so you know, like we're right at, so as far as like a dynamic of working together and business and personal, it's kind of the same thing with us. I mean, if you do what makes you happy, you never work a day in your life, right? And this makes her happy, and it makes me happy. It makes us both feel fulfilled. So it's kind of become one and the same, I mean, we don't go to work every day. I mean, we do work. This business is work, but we love this. I mean, this gives us fulfillment. It gives us purpose. I'm going to try not to get too emotional there, because it's been kind of an emotional week, but we walked this house the other day, and these people are just, they're not in a good spot. And we were able to just stand there and give them that out, and just, they started crying. Like we just watched all of the weight of the world fall off of their shoulders in a second when we said, yes, we're going to buy this. We're going to give this to you. It's going to be cash. You're going to have it in 7 to 10 days. And a lot of people think about, oh, you're just doing this for the money, and you're just these greedy, and like, they don't understand the impact. And that's not the first time that's happened. We've had 3 people cry when we bought this problem off of their hands. And we haven't done hundreds and hundreds of flips. We're on 11, 12, 13, and 14. And we've had 3 of those people just break down into tears. I'm a very altruistic person. I mean, I'm alive. I have a similar story to yours, because people who were altruistic, who gave of themselves freely, pulled me out of areas I should probably never have been in. And my life is dedicated to trying to do that. And to be able to make that impact in somebody's life, this is our personal life. It's our business. It's our personal life. It's our retirement. This is what we love to do. We have that passion for this, and it's just kind of become all encompassing. And I guess the details parts, the running the numbers and the having to answer an email, we take breaks from that. But from the business part, how can we make an impact? How does this affect our family? How can we create wealth that we can pass on to our kids? How can we show them how to get out of hard spots? No, we don't. There's never a break from that. We just love this too much.
Yeah, I think that's incredible, and kudos to you, Ted, for recognizing that, you know, it's viewed as like the man is the leader, but hey, Steph's the visionary. Like, that's totally cool. Like, it's like her skill set, and she's a driving force in your business, and you know where your superpower is, and your there's no ego, right? There doesn't have to be an ego. Like, ego is the thing that literally, it limits so many people from like just succeeding. They're in their own way because they're worried about what people think, and look at my flashy car, whatever it is on the internet. That drives me absolutely insane. I did this, I don't know if you guys saw my story yesterday, but I said, I wake up at like 7:00. I spend an hour doing nothing. I just drink coffee and sit on my couch. And then I start my day. Like, I don't ice bath. I'm not doing affirmations. Not that I don't do those things, but like, I don't want an optimized morning. I want a slow morning. I spent 20 years getting up at 4:00 and beating the pavement running. Like, now I just want to chill for an hour and drink my cup of coffee and just look around and enjoy the life. So like, I feel like I need to inject some of that into the world, because everybody's like, yo, you got to be so disciplined and wake up and do 1,000 push-ups and then, you know, wrestle a bear to be successful. I'm like, I don't think that's true, because I don't do that. And I feel like I'm doing okay. I should tell the world that they don't have to do that.
I'm glad to hear it, because I had, you know, get up every morning, exercise, and I've done that maybe 2 times. You know, it was a goal, right? But like, in all reality, my mind just won't stop, because I'm like, oh, I have a house to look for, and I have, you know, so there's a realistic part where we're not always wired to turn off, right?
Yeah, and we're not perfect. And, you know, those things are important, like taking care of your health, exercising, eating right, working on your mental health. Like, you should do all those things, but it doesn't have to be just because somebody wrote the Miracle Morning in a book and said you have to do it at 4 a.m. is kind of BS. You could do it at noon if you want.
Right.
The real important part for anything in life, as you guys know, and you're such a good model of this, is just like doing the thing that you're committing to. 1, if you commit to it, do it. And then 2, do it consistently over time. You know, consistency over intensity always wins. The only reason people come out of the gate and they're super intense is because it's ego, man. It's ego. So yeah, I'm as I said at the event, and I continue to tell people, it's like, dude, no egos, man. Get rid of your ego. It is killing your business. So I'm super proud of you guys. I'm so grateful that you came into my personal world and that I can call you guys friends. Now I'm glad that you know, I'm not on some big stage.
I know.
I'm very reachable. My cell phone number is actually all over the place. I literally tell people all the time, reach out to me. I don't promise, like, I'm also busy running multiple businesses. So like, somebody sends me a message, I respond to, I think, almost everybody. But I'm glad that you reached out to me, because I'm like you, Ted. Like, I want to pull everybody up with me. So many people pulled me up and helped me. I also want to pull everybody else up. So I'm grateful for you guys. I'm super proud of you guys. I'm really, really excited to see you guys evolve and continue to be leaders in this space and in our community. And I'm so confident in your guys' ability in your business. Like, I have no doubt, whether you decide to build this big team and do 200 of these a year, or you just have this really hyper efficient, very profitable 20, 40, 50 flip a year business, and then you add vertical, like, I just know you'll do it. Like, I'm so confident, and just based on the results you've already produced. And so I'm impressed with you guys. I'm grateful you guys are in our community, and I can't wait. I really can't wait to see what you guys do over the next year. So so you're flipping houses in Indiana, which is a great market. It's a really, in my opinion, risk-adjusted market. If people wanted to maybe learn more about that or get involved with you, how could they reach out to you?
Probably email. Email would be the best. And then we also have a website. Our business name is Green Key Ventures. So we've got that as a website, obviously, if somebody's interested in selling a house. And then you could personally reach out to us. Mine is Steph, STEPH, at Green Key Ventures with an S.com. And Ted's is TED, Ted at greenkeyventures.com.
Keeping it simple.
Keeping it simple.
Yeah. So I think if you're out there and you're like, oh, these guys are like real estate operators and you want to get involved or you want to see how you can partner on some of their deals with them, like send them an email. They'd be happy to talk to you guys. So
reach out to us on social. We've tried to, something I'm not comfortable with is being the center of attention. And you know that, Ted, not so much. So we make our videos and, people really, it's amazing when we go places. They're like, we've been waiting on your next video. I'm like, really? We did amp up our social media so that people are aware of what we do and what it looks like. Like I want to be genuine. And when somebody comes to me and says, what does your yesterday look like? I'm like, well, we were, muddy walking through a house that had no cabinets and no floors, So we try to be very transparent and real about that. And that way also our investors know what's going on. If they're putting some money into an investment, we do keep track of that, but they know, okay, that project is going as they say. And so that's something I try to do too.
Yeah, it's super cool. And your videos are great, by the way. I too am watching going, wow, this one's the editing's getting good. It looks cool. I'm seeing these real fixer uppers that you guys are in. Some of them are pretty ugly.
Yes, they are very ugly.
We seem to like the uglier, the better. You have a tree growing through your house. That's our house.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
The roof, we've had some major tree issues. The first one we did, we walked in the second week and I walked in the bathroom. I walked back out and I said, do not go in there. He's like, what? Like there's a tree laying in the bathtub. It had fallen in the second week. That was our first flip. So
I love it.
Real stories. Yeah.
I love it. Cool. Well, check Ted and Steph out on, they're on Facebook, probably on Instagram too. You guys can find them there or send them an email. Ted, Steph, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Super grateful for you guys.
Thanks, Adam. We appreciate you. And we also appreciate the 7F family, 7FF family. You guys are great. And we really owe all of it to you guys, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. If you got something out of this show, leave us a 5-star review so more people hear it. And if you want to know more about 7-figure flipping, just send us an email at info@7figureflipping.com. That's the number 7, figureflipping.com. See you on the next one.